Hi there, welcome to Games Over Qualia. My name is Devon. These videos work in 3 different parts. First, you send me your game and you fill out this form about your intended experience. Second, I'll play the game completely blind and then I explain what I think the game was trying to do. Third, I compare my blind experience with your intended experience and we'll see if they align or if they don't. When I think about Emergent games that pulled me in, I think about Breath of the Wild. In the very beginning, if you remember, you come out of the cave. As you're walking down the road, there's branches, and there's a whole type of curve that they're building in here by introducing moments and moments. You go over there, you grab a tree branch, and that's your first weapon, and then you come across an enemy, and you use that tree branch against the enemy, and a couple things happen. First, you understand, oh, I can use objects as weapons. Hit the enemy, and as soon as you kill them, they drop their weapon, and you go, oh, I guess I can get weapons from other enemies. And then if you keep using that tree branch, then you go, oh, the tree branch can break. So I guess weapons break. And then you try to get weapons from bigger enemies. You realize you can get weapons other ways. You realize you can get different types of weapons. Those little things that are taught to the player, and it kind of made me realize that I'm thinking in the game's language, right? I'm thinking about the world and I'm getting excited about wanting to play more of it because I'm thinking about how I can utilize these systems. That's exactly what I think was missing from today's game called Zeroth. This is by Contrary Games. This game has so many things in it. This is a procedural type of world. It's a dungeon crawler, but all of its worlds are random. There's so many interactions that can happen here. There's very emergent gameplay. It's very, very ambitious. I really like so much about this game. However, I really did not get to that point until I really gave myself to it. When I play a game and I don't feel connected with it, that's what I was feeling here. Like after an hour and a half of gameplay, I'm like, okay, well, I don't really feel the need to keep going. I came to the conclusion that the game just wasn't that fun, but something happened to completely switch my mind about this game. So I went into this developer's YouTube channel. I'm watching the developer play this game and he's just walking through this area as an archer. He takes out his bow and he starts shooting this termite. This termite comes over and attacks him and then his bow disappears. And he says, oh, the termite ate my bow. And I was thinking, whoa, wait a second. Well, that completely opened my eyes to the game. And I'm like, okay, hold on, wait, there's termites and they eat wood and because your bow's made of wood, it disappeared. And sure enough, that's what happened. He used a different bow and could kill the termite that way. And multiply that out several times. Everything that I learned watching that video, I had no idea about when I played the game. And that was the disengaging part, right? When I played this game, there was nothing that captured me because I didn't understand all of those little intricacies that he did. And he knew this because obviously he's the developer. So he's going through this gameplay and he says things like,
we got a sad clown here that's trying to kiss me and make me feel sad. Ooh, he's selling asbestos underwear. That's pretty handy. Asbestos underwear will give me fire immunity, so I'm safe in lava now.
I'm like, what? This monster petrifies you, and then if you kill it, then you can steal its eggs, and you can throw an egg at another enemy to turn it to stone. And I'm like, well, how? Like, if I knew this stuff, I would have been a lot more interested in doing it. Why wasn't this explained to me? And the thing is, these are things that just kind of exist as rules in the game. This was actually in a lot of older games before. There's rules that just exist. You're supposed to read a manual before you play the game in order to understand a lot of these things. Those were, games back in the 80s before game design was around to teach people how to do things. And so I realized that this game is one of those types of games where it has just so many rules in here and so many things that, allow the universe to just live and be itself. But unless you are, really focused and you really just immerse yourself in this world, unless you do that, you're not going to know them. That's what really brought me out of the game. If I never saw those YouTube videos and this was my first time playing this game and I wasn't doing it for the show, I wouldn't care, right? After an hour of gameplay, after 2 hours of gameplay, I'm just like, it's not for me, and I leave it. But now that I know that you can do things like, is this a teleport wand? What happens if I use it? So I can take all this now. Nice. Had I known that kind of stuff existed in this game, I think that would have made me a lot more interested in doing this kind of stuff. So I really, really liked playing this game after I had realized that there's, so much more depth to it, because I really had to saturate myself with this game. I really had to immerse myself and really focus on the game itself and all the mechanics that are involved to really understand what it was that I was doing here. This game has so many emergent properties that it's a lot of fun if you really put yourself into it. So that was my experience with this game. Now we're going to go and read the developers' answers to see what it was that they intended with this game. This is the part of the video where I ask for a donation. These are my Patreon members. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your donations. So the first question that I asked Contrary Games was, what were you hoping that the player would feel while playing your game? This dev answered, I wanted the player to feel invested in their character as they progress each run. When the run is over, they feel ready to start again because the game is fair and they died to something avoidable. The anticipation of exploration in an ever-changing world, just one more level. The joy of discovering beneficial items and the regret of detrimental items. The panic of a sudden escalation from calm and controlled to chaos and destruction. The surprise and amusement from the avatar's contextual fourth wall breaking commentary, and the satisfaction from exploiting what the game gives you and compensating for what it takes away. Those answers are very descriptive. Those are great answers for a description of what the game is doing, I think, at the moment. If that's exactly what you were trying to achieve when you built this game, I would say, wow, that's incredibly targeted and that's very, very specific. I think what you're doing right here is you're basically just describing the game that you created. For example, if I was to talk about Super Mario Bros. And I said something like, what did you want the player to feel while you're playing Super Mario Bros? And I'm thinking, I want them to feel powerful as they get the fire flower, in order to shoot fireballs. I want them to feel skilled when they start jumping. I could understand how that could be an emotion that someone gets from the game, and that's cool. But the idea here is more for us to understand why you made the game, for yourself. Why did you choose to make this game? For Super Mario Bros., for Shigeru Miyamoto, it would be something like he was trying to achieve a cartoon atmosphere with this game. He wanted to create Jumpman, that he could jump on top of things and having fun by creating this kind of cartoonish world, for the player. That was the feeling that he was going for. And so that's what I'm trying to do here, is trying to understand what kind of feeling were you going for? The second question that I asked was, why did you choose this experience? This dev answered, I grew up playing Hack, which started me on this game dev journey. Ever since, I've been obsessed with writing games that try to capture the essence of what I felt playing Hack, where every run was a new and unique story. I want to bring modern accessibility to Zeroth so my own kids and other young players can experience it as well. For context, Zeroth will be my second released game after Pathos, which is a turn-based traditional roguelike inspired by Nethack. After working on Pathos for 10 years, I wanted to challenge myself by making a quote-unquote live-action version that engaged with a broader audience. That exactly, that's exactly what I was looking for in the first answer, so that's awesome. Beautiful answer, love that. So Nethack and Hack. Okay, so I researched these games a little bit after reading this. This makes a whole lot more sense to me now. This game is very much like those games, like Hack and Nethack. If you haven't played those are very much like roguelikes, where they're basically ASCII looking things, kind of like Dwarf Fortress, where you're going through dungeons and the only things you can see are the rooms that you're in and then the little enemies that come across. But you can do so many things in that game. And I'm going to link a video actually that I had just watched to kind of understand what Nethack was about. I'm going to link that video in the description. This video was so helpful for me to understand. So big thanks to that YouTuber. Those games have a lot to do with verbs. And I think that's really, really interesting. There's like so many different types of verbs that you can do in that game. Things like throw, quaff, hit, things like that. And they're applied to every kind of item in the game. So you can do all different types of things in the game, and they create this really emergent type of process, which is really cool. But it's interesting to me that you said something about accessibility, because I don't think this game is accessible almost at all. Like it is accessible, obviously, from the get-go. Like it's very easy to control. But in order for you to like get immersed into the game and really understand all of these things playing out, I feel like there's a lot more that needs to be done in terms of design here. If I think about random audiences, about audiences that just play a game for a little bit to see if this game is for them, and if not, then they don't play it anymore. If I think about those types of people, I feel like they would play this game for a little bit and then leave it because they don't really understand the depth of this game. And I think for games like Rogue or Hack or Nethack, is that Taylor? Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne. If you were to introduce a modern audience to a game like Hack or Nethack or Rogue, I don't feel like they would care much, when they played it, because those games were made for, early 80s, and we're talking about 84. Games were primarily for PC people, for people working on programming. So it makes sense that those people would be fully immersed in a game in order to get the most out of it. So to create that kind of depth and have people, read like manuals and stuff to play your game. That would make sense back then. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense now with the saturation that we have inside, the Steam library. Even when you have a game that's, animated this way, because a lot of the interactions are just, they're so deep. They're really, really deep. I mean, like if I were to offer any advice, and I wouldn't necessarily take this advice, this is just something that came in my mind, I would look at introducing people to that depth. Like I said before, the YouTube stuff that you did, that stuff really brought my eyes to this really crazy emergent behaviors that happened. The zombies that lost their limbs, the one bug that you said would eat metal, another one that eats wood, one that protects you from fire, all that kind of crazy stuff. I would want to see that from the very beginning. I'd want to know those types of systems so that I could look forward to more things in the game. So whether that's a linear path of some sort, I don't know what it would be. I'm not going to advise how to design the game, but that's the stuff that I imagine, would create better accessibility. My third question was, were there any specific moments, mechanics, or ideas that you built around that emotional goal? Their answer was, the character customization allows players to invest in their character and express their own personal style through outfit choices. Coupled with permadeath, this investment has more meaning. The procedural generation evokes anticipation while exploring, and each run is its own unique story. The identification mechanic is not just about good or bad items, they're a risk reward to discover. The interplay of physics creates chaotic situations and high anxiety moments where quick decisions matter. The avatar commentary entertains and gives clues about how to play the game. The left-hand side narration communicates exactly what happened, which is essential to the feeling of fairness. Again, I would say these answers are very descriptive, which is great for, describing your game, if that's what you're trying to do, is just describe what you have created. But more or less, this is about design philosophy, and I want to know why you created all these choices from the beginning. And I think you did that in the second answer, where you talked about hack and Nethack, creating that type of emergent world that's a little bit more accessible. I think that's basically what you're trying to do here. And I did feel some of those feelings that you're talking about. I didn't feel all of them. In fact, one of the things that I definitely did not feel was the customization character screen type of thing. I don't feel, this is just personal for me, but whenever I play a game that has a customizable character, it's fun to create the character, sure, but that doesn't make me any closer with the character. It's more about my agency and what I am trying to do in the game. If what I'm trying to do in the game doesn't really matter a whole lot, then I don't really feel close to the character, even if I did customize the crap out of them. That's just me though, so there might be some of the people that feel differently. Another thing was the left-handed narration. I think for accessibility, I don't know. I was going to say the accessibility thing, I wouldn't rely so much on narration, but that's a critique that is for my own taste in games. So I won't talk about that too much. Thank you so much, Contrary Games, for submitting this game, Zeroth. There's a link to this game, of course, in the description if you'd like. If you are not this developer, you can submit a game if you'd like, if you want me to talk about it. There's a link in the description. I am filled up, I think, until the end of next year. So there's a large wait list, but there's a link there. There's also a link to the Discord if you'd like to get your game in front of others and have a play test or just talk about game design. That's fun too. With that being said, that is everything. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. When I was playing as one of the people where I befriended a wizard, I felt really good about having that wizard with me. And when I lost the wizard, even though your character automatically does cry when your allies are lost, usually I never felt sadness, but because I figured I wanted to save that wizard and I started giving that wizard things and we started working together, that's when I started feeling attached to the wizard. And so, yeah, when the wizard died, I felt this loss, right? And I wanted to avenge him, I wanted to kill the thing that killed him.